I told this story before. I told it when there was it was exactly the right time and place for me to tell that story. Because it was like on a stage. And there's so much I can tell you about why it mattered that I was on the stage when I was telling the story. I live next to a train, so I will never feel lonely. In my other house, me and my boyfriend's house, we have a refrigerator, and it's kind of like broken. And because it's broken, it keeps making this sound, you know, like that kind of weird sound. It's actually a little bit more scary, like more scary than the way I did it. But it's so out of nowhere. Excuse me. It's so out of nowhere that you don't expect it to happen. It's that sort of thing. It's like, you know, and you just turn around and then you remember your existence. Weird, you know, thinking about how can a refrigerator make me feel, how can a refrigerator remind me that I'm alive, you know? It's funny to be reminded of being alive because you're already alive. You know, otherwise you wouldn't be able to hear this, obviously. When I first told this story, I thought it was the right time and place. I started telling it, and I felt this instinct to go with the flow, you know, say the right words at the right, whatever came to my mind, I just said it. I just did exactly what I thought I should be doing. It was exactly what I wanted to talk about, actually. It wasn't about the fact that it was a stage, the fact that it was on a big space where only I was at and I was sitting. That did not really matter. That did not really matter because I finally had people to tell the story to. There are some sorts of things that you can't really tell anybody, because if you tell it, they will call you crazy, or the people that you know, the people you want to tell it to are also affected by the same thing, so you can't really just tell them because they already know. You don't want to make it worse. He was, now I know for sure, one of my favorite people in this world. He was. He truly was. And I'm not saying this just to make it really emotional, even though it is for me. I'm saying this because he really was. He was it's kind of funny to say this, but maybe he was the person that I loved the most in the world. I know that might hurt some people to say that. But that was the truth. That was my truth. And I never really knew why, you know. I never really knew I never really knew why he was one of my favorite, or my favorite person in the world. I knew she necessarily wasn't, and I had reasons for that, but I didn't have reasons for him being my favorite person in the world, you know? I mean, when you think about it, there's this quote that I really like. It says, like, draw a monster. Why is it a monster? It's kind of interesting. It tells you, you draw the monster, and then you're like, you look at it, and it's like, why is it a monster? Is it because it's scary? Why is it scary then? What makes the monster the monster? You know, that sort of thing. There are all sorts of things that scare me, that can possibly scare any human being, more or less, me. But they scare me nevertheless. There's so much to talk about when it comes to him and me, even though there's so little that I can point out to and say, this happened between the timeline that his and mine, our lives connected. Because we didn't really have that much time together, and I'm just 21, and by the time I've grown, I will probably realize we really didn't have that much time together. But still, he was my favorite person in the world. And at that stage, I talked about how I saw his knees. His knees, like his knees. His knees in a bag, him in a bag. How many feet down the ground? I don't know. I don't really know the kilometers, inches, meters. The train comes again. It's funny, my friends can't really talk when the train comes because they're not really used to it. They can't really talk because it bothers them when it's coming and going. They can't really understand they can't pick up the conversation from where it went off, but I can, because the train is not something I recognize. It's not like the refrigerator, which is new to me. I want to be something. I want to do something. I want to be something. I've always wanted to be something. I've always wanted to do something. There's something weird about seeing your favorite person's knees in a bag, and skinnier than usual, because cancer, obviously. I knew what cancer was before, too, of course. My father had it, and his mother also had it. And so when he had it, I was not. It happens. Things happen. It's not like you can change anything. So I don't know what that denial part in the grief really stands for. Well, the thing is, I saw his knees. And they were very skinny. And this is the part that I kind of talked about. I wanted to see his knees. Not that I wanted to see his knees specifically, obviously, but I just wanted to see him for one last time. Just the physical him, just being there. I just wanted to see it one last time. So I kind of I went there, just like everyone, you know how funerals work. And I just kind of went there. And when I told them, seeing his knees. I didn't cry. I didn't cry. I just wanted to look. I just wanted to look, really. I just wanted to see. I bet he would never want me to see that. He would never want me to see that. But I still went there, you know. Our last time seeing each other, he was going to die. But I went there and I told him that I loved him. And I can't really do that usually, you know. I can't really go up to someone and just be so brave. But I knew he was going to die, and I held his hand, and like, I'm not really good with being physical with people. I can't really touch them that well. I can't really. I held his hand until I told him that I loved him. And he opened his eyes. He gave me a look. He knew. He told me everything was going to be okay. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain it, but he told me everything was going to be okay. With that stare, obviously.